826-1227. Now let's kick it over to my dear friend, Dawn Timothy. Dawn?
All right, Jim, thanks very much. A lot of touching stories here today, a lot of courageous families, brave children. And I've had the great fortune to have met a number of these children and spent some significant time with them. And the young lady that I'm about to introduce you to, one of the last memories I have of her was Easter Day, and she came down and she spent Easter dinner with my family because her dad was working, and we had a terrific time. And that night she went for some tests to hopefully get a lung transplant. And in the meantime, after she got back from those tests, she got a phone call from University of Pennsylvania Hospital that said they had lungs for her. And the last time I saw her was in a hospital bed. I want you to meet this young lady, brave young lady who is here with me today in spirit, although she's not standing next to me as I had hoped. Here's Chuck Einhorn. This courageous 19-year-old inspired us all last summer at the Make-A-Wish Telethon. Nikki Einhorn was hospitalized in Philadelphia with severe complications from cystic fibrosis, but she insisted on traveling to the Steamtown Mall in Scranton to help make wishes come true. And she did. The phones rang off the hook with a record number of wishes granted.
It means a lot to me that every kid's wish is granted because I know it meant the world to me, and it just means the world to me that I help out.
Nikki always put others before herself. It was just one of the many qualities that made her so extra special.
Yeah, I agreed to go in the hospital a week ago, only if they let me out yesterday so I could be here today.
We thank you very much. You are a very lovely young lady, and you have a great heart. Unfortunately, Nikki did not have great lungs. She learned she had cystic fibrosis when she was 14 years old. And because she was diagnosed so late, the bright-eyed beauty faced an uphill battle marked by long hospital stays and daily treatments. Amazingly, it never got her down. Even at her high school graduation, Nikki held her head up high and put down her backpack carrying her oxygen while she proudly accepted her diploma.
Nikki was on up to 84 pills a day, 4 machines 3 times a day, a treadmill, an exercise machine. I mean, a routine for someone who's on oxygen 24 hours a day is very rough. But Nikki didn't care. She was always concerned about the next person.
That was evident at the Make-A-Wish Crystal Ball earlier this year. Nikki didn't feel too well, but lit up the ballroom as she talked about what Make-A-Wish meant to her. We first met Nikki in August of 1994.
We have some very special people here with us now. Nicole Einhorn.
The spunky teen appeared with our Andy Mahalchik at the Make-A-Wish fundraiser Wish-A-Palooza. The forerunner to the Make-A-Wish Telethon, Nikki was there to present a check to help other Wish children. 2 months earlier, Nikki's wish to meet Janet Jackson had come true. Nikki and her younger sister Jessie, along with mom and dad, were taken by limousine to meet the superstar and hear her sing at the Spectrum in Philadelphia.
Her face, the smile was ear to ear the whole night, you know. And she was always tired back then, but she fought it, you know, because she wasn't on oxygen back then. But she fought it, and she stayed awake the whole concert. And I think we were 2 blocks away, and she was sound asleep in the limo coming home.
She still, when she would talk about it, her eyes would light up. Janet would come up with a new album, and she had to go buy it that day, the day it was released. It was a memory that she just never, ever forgot.
And that wish motivated Nikki in a special way. She was on a mission. Even when her own health was failing, she wanted to make other sick children smile.
Make-A-Wish to her was a passion. She had her wish granted, and shortly thereafter found out that there are other kids who haven't had their wishes granted yet. And she was determined to make these people, no matter what her problems were, she wanted everyone's wish to come true.
Nikki worked here at the Windsor Inn in German, and she loved her job here. And when she wasn't busy bussing tables or working the register or back in the kitchen, she was using her charm and flashing her smile to convince customers to give to her very favorite charity, Make-A-Wish.
She worked real hard at it, the Windsor Inn. She talked to everybody about Make-A-Wish and conned money out of anybody she could.
And Nikki made quite an impression. Today, the Windsor Inn is practically wallpapered in wishbones marking the hundreds of donations. To date, Nikki's co-workers have raised nearly $4,500 from customers for Make-A-Wish.
Make-A-Wish never forgot Nikki. It wasn't, we had a wish, and then at the end of the wish, well, we solved this one, case closed, and move on to the next. Everything from graduation, when they presented with bouquet of roses, stuffed animals, to phone calls about shopping sprees for any wish child, prior, future, or anything. Make-A-Wish was always there. If she was depressed from her disease, she could call Make-A-Wish on the phone, and there was always someone there to talk to.
Then, on April 17th of this year, Nikki got the call she'd been waiting for. The University of Pennsylvania Hospital had a match, 2 healthy lungs with her name on them. She knew the risks of a double lung transplant. She also knew the operation was her only chance.
She was excited, but she was petrified. She threw her arms around me and said, "Dad, this is my second chance on life. Let's go for it." And all the way down, we called everyone on the cell phone. We had 2 of them going, everywhere from yourself to the Windsor Inn to every one of her friends to let them know.
Hope was in the air, and at first it seemed the operation was a success. But Nikki would take a turn for the worse and died 10 days later on April 27th.
Tough. It's really tough. You know, you try and get by each day. You know, you're okay when you're at work, you keep busy and all. Not that we don't think about her, I don't think about her during the day. She's on my mind constantly. But when I get home at night, you know, that's the worst. You just want to pick up the phone and call her. You know, I don't think it's fully set in yet.
Nikki, a young lady who touched so many people, may have lost the fight. But she never lost her courage. She was brave until the bitter end.
I think it just wasn't her time. She had an infection in her that just took over, and she had it. Had it been another time, maybe.
And while Nikki is now in a better place with no medicines and no machines, her dream to help other Make-A-Wish children will always live on. And Nicole is here with us today in spirit. Last year, as sick as she was, she came here with a check for $500. Earlier today, her dad presented Nicole's check for $500 for Nicole. I had truly, truly hoped that I could stand here with Nicole with 2 great working lungs. I had hoped she would be breathing easy, standing here asking for your money. But instead, I'm standing here in Nicole's behalf, asking for your money. 1-877-480-9474. Please, if you can find it in your hearts, to give anything that you have. It changes these children's worlds. It changes their families' worlds forever. And as I've said all day, this is a chance to make a difference for children all throughout our viewing area, and it's such an easy way to do it. Nicole's family is here, her mom, her boyfriend, her sister Jessica. Come on, Jess and Dad. Everybody's here because we have the whole Windsor family here, Windsor Inn, Nikki's favorite place, right?
Right.
And we have a special check presentation. I think, Vince, you're going to do this check presentation for us, right?
A lot of money. It's $4,550 from the Windsor Inn. From a place that was just so very special to Nikki. I mean, that makes it all the better and all the more worthwhile. $4,500. Who's this young lady here? Has something written on her hand, and I think, Joe, she's trying to sneak it up behind the check so she can say hello to somebody at home. Well, go ahead and put it up. You're here with, who's Meg?
My friend Megan.
Your friend Megan. You sure? Go ahead. You can do that. We're not going to stop you. We don't mind at all. Would you like to actually say something to Megan while you have the opportunity? No? All right. Nice anyway. It's a great amount of money. You know, there are times you really don't know what to say. I mean, yeah, it's nice to have the money, but, you know, Nikki's family's back there, and it's just, Lord.
Just this check.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it comes from the heart. And when you talk to Nicole about the Windsor Inn, I would have thought it was Cinderella's palace because
Is that true? Yeah.
she just described it almost the same way she described Make-A-Wish. She felt so strongly about you and your family, and
everybody she worked with. In fact, we were on her call list, and when her father was saying that they were making the calls on a cell phone, I think we were like the second or third call, and she told us that when she was coming back, she fully expected to come back from that operation, and she said she's coming back to work. First thing she's doing is coming back to work at the Windsor.
Well, she loved it. It gave her purpose in her life on those days that she didn't feel too well. She loved Make-A-Wish. That gave her purpose, and it made such a difference in her life. That's why she got involved. So.
Well, it's, I'd like to say it's nice seeing you folks, but I wish we weren't looking at you right now. I wish things had gone so much better, but this is so nice. So how about a nice hand for all these folks here with us? We'd also very much like to hear the phones ring a little more. I can tell you that right now. They're a little on the quiet side, and I can only stress that we do have people that are volunteers who are sitting here giving up a Sunday afternoon in August, which is, you know, let's face it, folks, summer is sliding away on us, so there aren't that many good weekends left. They've given up their time to sit here and answer phones.
Carrie, thank you very much. Again, all the $2 of the sale price goes toward the Make-A-Wish and our children. Speaking of some very special children, my I-team partner, Kathy Bozinski, has a special family over there. Kathy.
Oh, this is family history time for Make-A-Wish. Let me go through the introductions. First of all, we have our first ever Make-A-Wish prince, Vinny Valvano. His brother Mikey, who's just hanging out looking adorable today. And our first Make-A-Wish princess was Nicole Einhorn, who sadly we lost last year. But with us today, her mom and dad, Carol and Chuck, and Sam, the drummer, the music man, Sam Ramo, who really helped focus the idea of a Make-A-Wish event every year. Let's start with Sam. Sam, tell me, you got some clippings here, and here we see Nikki and Vinny back a couple of years ago, but you got a concept of doing some sort of event for Make-A-Wish. Tell us about it and how it got started.
Well, several years ago, Kathy, I had a dream. I wanted my own wish, and my own wish came true. I came to Make-A-Wish Foundation about 6 years ago, back in 1994. I had this idea. I wanted to put on this rock show, and I wanted to just have all the area bands just raise money. We wanted to really buy a wish. That's kind of like how this thing got started. We call it the Wishapalooza. Myself and another gentleman, a friend of mine, his name was John Jablowski. He was our executive director at the time. Myself and John Jablowski, we kind of kicked things together and made up the neat name Wishapalooza, and we started it all off, and we had it at the Staircase Lounge. And as you said before, we had our prince and our princess. We had Nikki and we had Vinny here, and what two great people they've been. They've been with us every single telethon, every single rock and roll show that we had. So since then and up until now, it's been a real great success, and we're going to keep this thing going.
I'm going to slide over here to Chuck. Just excuse my reach, folks, okay? Because we got a lot of ground to cover here. Chuck, that first year when Nikki was princess, what did that mean to her?
It meant the world. She was in the limelight, and she loved every minute of it. She had just had her wish granted recently. It was about 2 months after her wish. She had met Janet Jackson, which was her wish, and she was like walking on cloud nine. And once she got involved in it, it just continued. No matter what happened, she showed up for every telethon and tried to raise money any way she could.
She was an incredible person. I remember it was 2 years ago. Well, but 2 years ago when she came to the telethon, it was, I think, the 98 telethon. She'd just gotten out of the hospital. She set up her hospital stay. Explain what happened there. It was amazing.
And she was unique. We admitted her to the hospital the week before, and she wouldn't sign the papers to go in. She had finally turned 18, and she wouldn't sign the papers to go in the hospital in Philadelphia unless they let her out the night before. I drove her home 6 o'clock Saturday night, the night before the telethon, so she could be here. We got to the telethon before it started, and she said she wouldn't leave. We had 2 wishes to go. She wouldn't leave till the last wishes were granted, and she did stay. And she was on oxygen at the time. She wasn't feeling that good, but that's how much Make-A-Wish meant to her.
I remember that well. That young lady impressed me like nobody else that day. It was incredible. And Carol, you know, Nikki's wishes, her work goes on because you and Chuck take an active part in this. Tell me why you're still here, even though sadly Nikki's no longer with us.
Well, because Nikki's life was Make-A-Wish, part of her life, and we're here to continue it for her. And we need the phones to ring. Those phones are real quiet. We need them going now. We need the money.
Okay, that's a little history here with the Make-A-Wish Telethon, some very special people. Now let's go over to another very special friend of mine, Adam Zucker. Adam?
Why, thank you, Kathy. I'm joined by some friends of mine also. You know, the 3 o'clock hour is almost up, and it's been sponsored by Vogue and Associates. Mike Vogue's been out here with me already presenting checks.
We only have $25 to give, and that's not enough. We would like to hear from all of you today, and we're now going to go to a story that Kathy Bozinski put together by the family of Nikki Einhorn.
So would you like to make a dollar donation to the Make-A-Wish Foundation?
Mayor and Brian Sheehan proudly fill out a wishbone, showing their gift to the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
A lot of people out there, a lot of kids that need the help.
I love kids. It's for the kids. I do anything for the kids.
Wishbones are everywhere inside the Long John Silver's in Dixon City. With every order, clerks offer customers like Debbie Dolinsky a chance to buy one.
I think it's important because if my son had a life-threatening disease and may never see anything, I would appreciate if anybody would give so he could make like one dream come true.
At this point, the restaurant is about halfway to granting a wish. A good cause isn't the only reason the Wishbone Project is so successful. The people who work at the restaurant really know what a difference a Make-A-Wish donation can make.
I have a daughter who, April of last year, passed away from a double lung transplant.
Manager Chuck Einhorn's daughter, Nikki, was a Make-A-Wish teen.
Nikki was unbelievable. Her biggest concern was Make-A-Wish.
I agreed to go in the hospital.
Everyone's fondest memory of Nikki Einhorn was the 1998 telethon. Even though she'd already had her wish, she scheduled a hospital stay so that she could raise money for other children. Using oxygen and struggling with her cystic fibrosis, she did just that.
She would not go into the hospital unless she could be home in time for the telethon. The doctors let her out the night before.
With Nikki as inspiration, her dad and his co-workers decided to take up Nikki's cause. Customer cooperation exceeded their wishes.
The response, I can't tell you how great it's been. The people actually, they come in, they buy them. They're actually anxious to buy them from us.
Many people actually dedicate their donations to Nikki. Even now, she's still helping other children.
It means a lot to me that every kid's wish is granted because I know it meant the world to me, and it just means the world to me that I help out.
And you are looking at the phone numbers up on your screen to call in your donation. The phones are not ringing over in this area.